it's Grace. Welcome back. So this video today is going to be on how to put hair extensions in your hair to make them look like you're not wearing any extensions at all. This is obviously really important because you never want to look like you're wearing extensions. It's kind of, you know, it defeats the purpose. You want them to look really natural. I have personally been wearing hair extensions, clip-in extensions, since high school, so, you know, probably about 10 years now. Ugh. Ew, I don't like saying that. Everyone does it differently. You'll find a ton of different videos online how to put clip-in extensions in to make them look natural. But for me personally, I've found little tips and tricks that work best just to make my hair blend in with hair extensions the best. Just a quick little background. There are a few other videos of me on this channel that you can go check out if you want a little more backstory, but I am biracial, so I have naturally very curly hair. So this is my hair after it's been flat ironed and straightened, and I did use the Irresistible Me diamond straightener for this. I have it. One second. That's this tool. I absolutely love it. It's wonderful. I did a whole video using this. I'm going to use it for this video as well, and in future videos in future. I'm planning on doing a video on how to go from naturally very curly hair to straight hair with extensions, like sort of the full process, but that's going to be a little bit longer and a little more in depth. I kind of wanted to start maybe halfway in the middle here and show you what my hair looks like when it's already straight, and then going from there, how I blend my extensions in to make them look really natural. I have people say to me all the time when I mention that I'm wearing hair extensions, they're like, those are extensions? Like, they never believe me. That's nice to hear because then I know I'm doing a good job, and I know that the tips that I'm going to share with you guys actually work and they're not just, you know, things I came up with that I think work. I actually one time was shooting a web series in Hollywood, and I had put my own clip-in hair extensions in before I went to the set, and I mentioned that I was wearing extensions to the hairstylist, and the makeup artist was like, those are extensions? Like, she didn't even notice. So that kind of goes to show you, like, even a professional makeup artist who works in Hollywood where everybody wears hair extensions, she didn't even notice at first. Hopefully some of these tips are really helpful for you, and I'm just going to show you what I do. So I'm going to be using my Irresistible Me Volume Vixen extensions. These are, I believe, 20 inches long, and they're in medium brown. They match my hair pretty well. My hair has gotten darker, strangely, since I ordered them. When you hold them up, they're not like a perfect match. You can tell my hair is a little bit darker, but the good thing is once you put extensions in, it kind of will give an ombre effect if your extensions are a little bit lighter. Something I actually can do a video on, though, is I tend to run into this problem. What I will do is I will dye the top end of my extensions where the clips are my hair color, so darker, and then leave the bottom this color, which will end up kind of giving a natural ombre effect. So I can do a whole video on that if you guys are interested in seeing that. But just for the sake of blending kind of the texture in, I'm going to show you how I do that. So you're going to need your hair extensions, two kinds of hairbrushes. Hold on, there's hair in this, that's gross. Okay, so I'm using just a regular brush, whatever brush you like to brush your hair out with, and a boar bristle brush. I also always have a couple of different clips handy, so I have this kind of bigger clip and then this kind of smaller clip. Just depends on like what hair you need to get out of the way, depending on what you're doing. Oh, and also obviously you need a straightener or a curling iron, or both, depending on what texture you want to end up with. I always say stick with a straightener because you can straighten or curl or make waves with a straightener, and you can only make curls with a curling iron. I always start putting the extensions in at the bottom and I work my way up. I mentioned this in the first video I made here on this channel. One of the telltale signs that you're wearing hair extensions is when you have those kind of baby hairs peeking out the side here, like out the bottom. I'm just going to take this first section. I'm going to tie my hair up here and clip it. I'm using this big clip. I'm taking one of the pieces that has 3 clips in it, and that's what I use for my first bottom. And this is just sort of like muscle memory for me since I've been doing it for so long. So it's almost a little bit hard for me to explain. I'll do my best to let you know everything I'm doing. So I'm just kind of working it out here. You really want to dig these clips into the hair. My hair is very smooth and silky, which obviously I'm not complaining, but you'd be surprised how much of a problem that can be when it comes to extensions, because the clips then will slide right out of your hair. So I find that I have to kind of create a little bit of texture where the clips clip into your head. Some people will, what's it called, like tease the root of their hair. I don't like to do that because it's not good for your hair, but I guess it's sort of like a less exaggerated version of teasing your hair, is just sort of moving the clips up and down until it's a little bit like matted and then clipping your hair into it. It's not that messy or anything, you won't get a knot. It's just if you have really silky smooth hair like mine, that's a tip for you so that your extensions won't come slipping out throughout the night, or at one point if you yank on them or something, they won't come falling out. I'm using the Irresistible Me Diamond Straightener. Absolutely love this straightener. My mom actually absolutely loves this straightener too. One of the biggest tips I have for making hair extensions look natural is that you're never necessarily going to be able to follow somebody else's steps to a T, because everybody's hair is different, obviously, unless you have the exact same hairstyle, texture, and cut as somebody else. You're gonna have to adjust what I'm telling you to your hair type. So I have very thin hair. Very thick extensions look weird on me because my hair is naturally very thin. So you'll kind of notice if the hair extensions I'm wearing are super thick and I'm wearing all of them in my head, it doesn't really look right. It kind of just they'll sit kind of heavy on my scalp and then they'll sort of puff out. So you really have to get a feel for what your hair would naturally look like with its texture, with its cut, if it were just longer. And that takes a little bit of getting used to. It does take some trial and error. I know that I have photos of me in early high school where I have extensions in and they look horrendous, and you can totally tell, and they're not convincing at all, and they look terrible. You know, sometimes you have to go through that. I'm hoping that my whole trial and error period was kind of instead of your guys's, so that this video will help you and you won't have to go through that. So, okay, this is the next piece that I'm going to use. This is the 4 one. I know some people will use 2 of the 3 clip ones down at the bottom. I don't tend to usually do that. This is just what works for me. This is how I find that it hangs correctly on my head and makes it look the most natural. Again, this is all going to be kind of personalized to you, so you need to really figure this out. Okay, so for this part, I'm going to find kind of the weight point of my head. So this is kind of where, like if you were to do a high ponytail, this is where you'd want to put it. So I'm just clipping my hair up at the top, and then again, you're gonna just kind of dig it in so that they stay. And then I always pull all the hair to the front, just because you get a little bit of a better idea of what it's gonna look like at the end that way, and you can adjust accordingly. Oh, this is cute. So this is the finished look. Okay, so you're gonna take that down. There, I have a mirror over here, and I'm using the viewfinder as well, so I'm kind of trying to get like a good sense of what's going on. And as you can see, the color really is blending in pretty well. There's not a huge contrast, so it's not that big of a deal. So moving right along, the next one that I always do is going to be a 3 clip one. Oh, I forgot to mention. So the one that I put at the bottom, the 3 clip one, is usually the thicker one. You'll notice when you get a set of these, the ones with 3 clips and the ones with 2 clips, some will have a thicker amount of hair, some will have a thinner amount of hair. I tend to put the thinner ones at the top, reason being that just will weigh your hair down less and it'll look more natural. It has the ability to be bouncier at the top. This one I'm really putting at the crown. My hair tends to get finer at the top of my head, so I don't really have to dig it in as much. And so far I haven't really had to flat iron it. Usually I do. I did flat iron my hair this morning and it's straightened, so it's just kind of kept its texture pretty well, and I've been keeping it pretty healthy with biotin and such, so it's been keeping a nice smooth texture, which is really nice. So I think this is looking really nice so far, and I think it's looking pretty natural. I mean, for very dramatic long hair, I think it's looking very natural. I generally will then end up putting in either 4 or 5 more clips. I will put 2 on this side and 2 on that side. Something else I want to talk about is cutting the hair. These I have already trimmed a little bit just to kind of shape so that they fall nicely, but I haven't cut them all the way that I normally would because I want to make a video on that. What I tend to do, and something that I think is really important that most people don't do because they're either afraid or don't realize, is I cut my extensions to match my haircut. So what I will do is put my extensions in my hair, and then I will cut the extensions in my hair. So as though I'm giving myself a haircut, as though that's the natural length of my hair. I do cut my own hair, and I have for a while just because I'm a little bit of a control freak, and I have never really liked any of the haircuts that I've ever gotten by a professional. So I've just sort of learned how to cut my own hair. It's really not that tricky. I mostly just trim my hair. I'm gonna do a video on how to cut extensions because I do want to cut these a little bit because they are a little bit too dramatically long for me. I do kind of like to have a little more like bounce and stuff. I still do think that they look pretty natural once they're all put in, but just for my personal preference, I really do like for them to be a little bit more layered and things. So I'm gonna do a video on that. So that is one other thing that I think is important to making them look really natural, but obviously I haven't done that yet. But like I said, I did trim these a little bit. These 2 are thicker, and these 2 are thinner. I'm taking one of the thicker ones since it's towards the bottom of my head. I put the thicker ones towards the bottom and the thinner ones towards the top, like I said, so that they don't weigh my hair down. Gives it a little more volume at the root and makes it look a little more natural. So I'm just using like my pinky finger to draw a line. I see a lot of people put their extensions right here, like right above their ear. I don't really like how that looks because I don't tend to find that it looks natural to have a clump of hair coming from here. Like it's not really a weight point for my hair anyway. I tend to have kind of lighter hair here. So I just sort of follow the natural pattern of what my hair is like. Yours might be different. Like I said, it's really a personalized approach, but this is just how I do it. Ooh! Did we all see that happen? Nothing to see here, nothing happened. The other thick, heavier 2-clip one, putting it kind of roughly eyebrow level, maybe a little bit higher. And you want to get them close up enough to the front of your face. Your face is in front always, so that it doesn't start far back and you can see your little baby hairs peeking through and you can tell it's extensions, but you don't want it too close to where it's like immediately a super long hair that would not naturally grow that way, because everybody has baby hairs, you know? It takes a little trial and error, it takes a little figuring out, but if you follow kind of what I'm doing here, it's more of like a visual and kind of feeling it out, figuring it out. This is looking really good so far. The last pieces are gonna go in now. My hair has actually gotten long enough where it almost doesn't need them, but I'm gonna put them just because I usually do. These are the lightest 2-clip pieces. What I tend to do is, since I wear my part, I guess, on the right side normally, draw a line with my pinky finger again. This is where my flat iron comes in. If you have a naturally curly or wavy texture that might poke through here, this is really where you want to smooth it out, because that's where it's going to start to show. It's like right at the top. So I'm just doing a quick run through over those pieces. Now again, I don't want to put it super close because nobody has a super long piece of hair that grows from the very front of their forehead. Not a thing. So you want to just make it look natural. Just imagine what somebody who has really long natural hair would look like, and go by that. If it helps, find a picture online or something of somebody with really long hair and kind of base your look off of that. Now the side with the bangs, whichever side your part tends to lean. If you have a center part, which I sometimes do, then you don't really have to worry about this. But you just want to make sure that you put your extensions in at an angle that looks believable. And I'll kind of show you what I mean in a second. So since I kind of have a fringe that goes across my forehead, you want your extensions to kind of follow that direction. So I'm going to put them in at a little bit of an angle, going over my natural hair with the flat iron so that it all blends together flawlessly. This I'm clipping a little bit closer to my forehead than the other pieces, because obviously when you have bangs, they do come across your forehead like this. This is where the haircut would come in handy and make this look even more natural, because obviously I have shorter pieces up here that are kind of underneath this longer part, but you can get away with it as long as you don't have super short bangs. If you have super short bangs, you're gonna have to cut your extensions no matter what towards the front, or else you're gonna be able to see them. Or if you try to hide it, like you'll be able to see that there's a really short piece kind of laying on top. So you'll have to kind of cut your extensions to accommodate those pieces so that they look seamless. I hope I'm explaining this well enough. Like I said, it's a little bit difficult to explain. It's a lot easier to watch. Hope I'm showing it well enough. Okay, so I'm just brushing through it now. I think this looks really natural. If I had super, super long hair, I honestly think that this is what it would look like. This is what it would grow into. Like I said, this part in the front is a little bit, it's bothering me a little bit just because I haven't cut it yet. That's the only part that's not looking quite as natural. So for me, I'm gonna just kind of like twirl that away from my face this way, so that it has more of a tendency to fall away from my face rather than towards my face, so that it'll bring less attention to the fact that it's hanging longer than my bangs are. So those are the kinds of things you're gonna just wanna like play with your hair. It really depends on your haircut in particular. Mine is obviously, I have those kind of bangs and it's layered, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's how I blend my hair extensions in to make them look as natural as possible. I'm gonna do, like I said, a few more tutorials on how to cut extensions, on how to color the roots of your extensions to match your hair. That's about it. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It wasn't anything fancy, it was just putting the extensions in, but you know, it's really crucial when you wear clip-in hair extensions because they're so easy to mess up. It's really easy to make them look really fake, and you don't want that. So I really hope you guys found this helpful, and let me know in the comments if there's any other videos you want to see from me with these extensions or any of the Irresistible Me tools that I talked about. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!